Hello. Today I want to talk about Donald Trump and his claim that Joe Biden and the Democrats stole the election. I want to talk about the election in general as well. Now, am I a believer that Joe Biden and the Democrats stole the election? I want to be. I just can't come to that conclusion. I saw some of the evidence, and there was a lot of shenanigans going on. Was what looks like obvious ballot stuffing going on in Georgia. There was a lot of shenanigans with the mail-in votes, but I don't think it was enough to change each state's elections. Now, the problem is with how a lot of states ran their elections. The Texas lawsuit actually had merit. Now, with all the Democrats saying nothing happened, the Supreme Court not taking the case is false. That because there was no evidence of anything is absolutely false. The Supreme Court said that Texas had no standing, which means they couldn't sue another state over their election laws. That doesn't mean that those four states did not do anything wrong. They did. It's in the Constitution that election laws have to be passed by the state legislatures and within constitutional bounds, of course. So basically the states can set up their own elections how they want to, but they can't, for example, say that people that wear socks with sandals can't vote. Now, I would support that because obviously people that wear socks with sandals have some issues with cognitive abilities, but the state legislatures cannot make that type of rule. But they can within the realm of the Constitution. And what happened in these swing states was the state legislatures did not make the changes. It was the appointed officials that made the changes, the election commissioners, with the help of the state Supreme Courts. And this is just unconstitutional in their own state constitutions. So I believe if the case had actually gone to the Supreme Court, it would have been a very close decision, and Trump might have won. But again, the Supreme Court didn't want to take the case, and I do believe that Texas didn't have any standing anyway. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't any shenanigans going on. And more importantly, is there's a large segment of the population that no longer believes in elections. And when you have a large section of the population that does not believe in elections, you can't have a functioning republic, democracy. It just can't happen. If there's it's probably about 30% of the population believes that Trump got robbed. And the way the Democrats are actually handling this is absolutely wrong. What they should have done is said, okay, we're going to have all the investigations you want. Nothing happened. And go ahead, investigate. Instead of saying these people are stupid, you're dumb. No, a lot of those people aren't dumb. Like I said, these states need to get their act together. But the answer to this problem is what we need to do is we need to change the Constitution and take it out of the state's hands, take it out of their hands totally. We need to make a national election law for national elections. For presidential elections, there has to be one standard. Congress should be able to do it. Change the Constitution, one standard, and we need to err on the side of caution. We need to err on the side of maniacal safety, so no one can question whether the election was stolen or there was any hanky-panky going on. And when I talk about maniacal safety, if we're going to have mail-in voting and we're going to have drop boxes, those drop boxes need to be watched by a camera and by security guards 24/7. The mail trucks that pick those ballots up need to be followed by 2 cars of each party. There has to be chain of custody to the warehouse where they're kept. In the warehouse, there need to be cameras, armed guards, and anytime anyone goes into that room, there needs to be at least 3 people, an independent observer, a Republican, and a Democrat. And as far as the machines, we need to have an absolutely closed system. None of the machines can get online, can have the ability to go online. None. And at the end of the day, the head election official with a Republican and a Democrat official goes and uploads a hard drive, and the counts are checked by each person, and then it's put in the official count. Then we also need a national registry, so we can check the state registry with the national registry to make sure that there's no dead people voting, there's no people out of state, there's no, at least as little as possible of that type of stuff going on. When the votes are being counted, I would recommend a room for the observers with cameras that can look at the ballots, and people can see, and they can push a button, and once that button's pushed, the ballot is taken out to be looked at. There has to be honesty and integrity in our election system, or eventually, like people are talking about, people are going to opt out of the system. There's going to be talk of secession. We might have civil war, because in a democracy and a republic, that's how we change power. That's how we elect the people in power. And if people don't have faith that they get a fair shake, there's only one alternative to that, and that's forming your nation, revolution, violence. So we need a fair election system. And I would also say at the end of the election that there's a commission automatically made up of an independent, a Democrat, and a Republican that has subpoena power to go and look at any questionable results. So you have the election, and it's as secure as it can possibly be. And then in the time between the election and when the electors vote, you have a commission that looks at every election just automatically to make sure that nothing happened, and to make sure that people accept who was elected president. Now, that being said, with the electors being chosen and the Supreme Court not wanting to get involved, Trump needs to step away now. He doesn't have to admit defeat. He can not admit defeat, but he's got to stop all the I won the election, and if he wants to run in 2024. He could be a kingmaker, even if he doesn't run. If the Democrats think he's going to run, it's going to keep his coalition alive. I might vote for him in 2024, depending on who the Republican is. But anyway, again, we need to do something about our election laws. And no one's really talking about a constitutional amendment, but I think that's what it's going to take in order to fix our election laws, to make sure that people trust our elections. That's the only choice I think we have, or this is going to get worse and worse. Because look at the last 20 years. We've had, except for the Obama elections, almost every election has been not fraudulent, but a big section of the population has thought they've been robbed. Bush v. Gore, the 2 Trump elections, it just needs to be fixed. Anyway, remember, never to believe in anybody's propaganda. That's all. Bye-bye.